as men, we have stopped building assets and we have become a country and society and culture of renters. And I'm not talking real estate versus renting an apartment. I live in an apartment. It's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is building assets in regards to we have lost the skill and the ability to build things. It doesn't always have to be physical things. It can be like digital things. It can be assets that make you money digitally, which is a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this video. But we have lost that capability and that skill because we have just gotten so used to the, and not for me, but for most people out there, clocking in and clocking out and renting our lives. And we're not building assets. We're not building things that can support us. And this realization really came to me this week where between a church small group and topic that we were talking about in there, and then also God just really put it on my heart. He was like, I'm going to show you some things this week. I need you to take a step back from everything you're doing and to give me time to show things to you, right? And so the cool thing about that was that I was like, okay, well, how am I going to make money? How is this going to work? I've got, things that I'm doing right now. I'm making money from doing things on the day-to-day in e-commerce and a little bit of consulting that I'm still doing for personal brand consulting and running ads, consulting and helping people with that. And then my main focus right now though is in some things we're doing in e-commerce with TikTok shop and soon to be with the Instagram shop and the YouTube shop that are in beta testing right now. But that's for another video, which if you want to learn more about that, I'll be talking more about that in the future and upcoming videos and stuff because it's part of what I'm doing. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. But basically, I had built these assets and specifically with e-commerce, with TikTok shop, with this stuff, right? And I'm on autopilot making $300 to $400 a day. So it's, right around 10K a month from autopilot or on autopilot, right? And so it's like in the future, I may or may not have to, I will inevitably have to, manage, update some things, like continue doing stuff. But for the time being, it's on autopilot. Like I really haven't done anything for those this whole week. And they have consistently made me about $350 every single day. And I've done absolutely nothing. Now, what I have done in the past was I built these things up. I created this content. I did the market research. I wrote out scripts and involved psychology and, all the stuff that I've learned in marketing and content and psychology. So I did the pre-work, right? I prepared for it. I did all this stuff and I built it, but I built this asset. And I think that's what so much of our world, but specifically with men, we are missing right now is building these assets that can provide for ourselves, our families, in my case, my future family, right? And so we're just clocking in, clocking out, and renting our lives away. And realistically, it is modern day slavery because if you think about it, they pay you just enough, and a lot of times not even enough, to get by. They get you wrapped into home mortgage debt that you will be paying off for the rest of your life, student loans that you will be paying off for most of, if not the rest of your life. You could get into medical bills that you'd be paying off for the rest of your life. And so it's like you get crumbs and it keeps you alive, but you're not really living. You're not really building anything. You're just renting your life. And so this week, the cool thing with God basically just going like, hey, I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to tell you some things. I need you to spend time with me. So I need you to spend less time doing the day-to-day stuff that you're doing. Now, I am growing a community with with business partners and stuff like that. So I do have my hands involved in that I can't just dip out on. But all my personal stuff kind of took a back seat. So, I was only spending a few hours a day on that community that I have dedicated and I have obligations to. But the rest of my day, I haven't literally been doing anything. I haven't filmed content besides rambling here on these YouTube videos. That's it. And I'm not making anything from my YouTube right now. I have in the past. I have used it as a marketing tool in the past. But right now it's more of just documenting and more of a getting out the message that I want to get out so that I can build a platform and whatever I end up doing with that, whatever God wants me to do with that is what will become of it. So I'm not sure what that is yet, but the cool thing is that because of that, God was like, don't worry, I'll take care I'll take care of your income, I'll take care of all this, and I've built up this asset, and I stopped working on it, and it's still producing for me. And so, like I said, $300 to $400 a day, and I'm doing nothing. So it's still producing for me, still making me $10K a month. I'm not doing anything on that. To allow for time to spend with God, to decompress my mind, to get a clear mind, to stop having so much content and things just going in my ear, to finally give some space and give some time. Because when you have all this content going in your ear constantly, self-improvement, podcasts, learning how to do this, learning 50 different ways to make money online, like, you can't breathe, right? You're just breathing in and you're not breathing out. You're just breathing in. And then you get to a point where you can't breathe in anymore. There's no room, right? There's no room. There's no headspace for you to come to answers on your own, for God to give you answers. There's no headspace because you're just breathing in, but you're not breathing out. You're not taking a step back. And I partially blame the hustle culture for this, which is definitely something that I have been part of in the past, which there are seasons for hustling. For sure, there are seasons where you're going to work 12-hour days for a couple weeks, and that's just what it is. But after that couple weeks is over, it's over. You're not supposed to do that all the time. That's insanity. I've been there, right? So, the cool thing is, with this week, with, spending a little bit of time, God gave me this message and this mission statement, and that's the whole point of this video of what I'm building up to. And I got there by by just, like I said, working a few hours a day on the community, on the commitments that I made. But besides that, the rest of my time has been spent going to the beach, getting sun, putting my feet in the sand, right? I went to the range today, to the shooting range, and just focused on that. Didn't worry about that. On the drive there and back, it's like a half hour, and no music, just cool. What are we doing, God? What's the next thing? Where am I supposed to take everything with this? Where, just all that. And so I think God talks to people in different ways, or we just understand, each person understands him differently. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I know it is different for different people. So for me, because, and I don't say this in a way to be, I don't say this in a way to be arrogant, but I say this in a way that helped me understand, and hopefully it just makes sense to you too. The way that God speaks to me is very short and concise, and he'll give me an idea, and kind of be like, here's the idea, here's the concept, run with it, right? And so some people, like, he has to, and I say that meaning not arrogant, because it's like, I know that I am more in, sounds so weird to say out loud, but I know that I am more intelligent. I know that I'm above average intelligence. I know that I'm, top 70, 80%, something like that. Has to be, right? I did an IQ test once. I don't remember what that was, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, intelligence mixed with street smarts, not just like book smarts intelligence. Because, you try to get, like, I almost failed chemistry. I'm not talking about chemistry, right? I'm talking about intelligence in a different way, in, being able to make money online, in, like, that's a crazy thing, being able to lead people, to coach people who are older than me in this specific skill set or group of skill sets that I have. And going off on a tangent here, I know that God goes, look, you know what to do with this. I'm going to give you the idea. You're intelligent enough to figure it out on your own. I don't need to spoon feed it. I don't need to give you, step-by-step instructions of what to do. Here's the idea. Here's the concept. You go do with it, because I know you're intelligent enough to handle it. That's how I receive messages, right? So some people, not saying that they're less intelligent, but kind of, some people just, stuff doesn't click as quickly for them, or they just don't get it, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, right? I almost failed chemistry. I don't really understand sarcasm very well. Like, it just goes over my head, right? But in regards to problem solving and getting things done and leadership, that is where I excel, right? And other people have different strengths in other ways. So God's going to give them a message differently. That is the point that I was trying to make. So that message that he gave me was to build, first of all, build. And my parents always told me this growing up. Tyler, my name, means builder. And I was always building stuff. I was always building stuff in the garage, jet engines, Assassin's Creed, like, extension wrist blade thing, like, crazy stuff, right? Flamethrowers, little, wooden slingshot gun things, like, crazy stuff. It was good that I wasn't a crazy child with that knowledge and that ability, because that could have been bad. But I've always been a builder, right? So he says build. I said, okay. What am I supposed to build? I've been building my whole life. I've been building online businesses. I've been building people. I've been building physical crazy contraptions and jet engines. What am I supposed to build, right? He's like, build men. I said, okay. So, like, young men, like, help men. Like, there's a lot of men that need a lot of help, and I am in no way, I think, competent enough to be able to lead to the extent that I would want to, but I think God has other ideas and other plans, because people have always kind of just been drawn to me as a leader and followed me, and that's just how he made me, right? So he said, build men. So, okay, build men. And I'm like, well, okay, build men in what way, right? And like I said, this big theme in my life lately has been assets. It's been assets. And it's like, how can we build a company that sticks around and produces for us? Because I've made money online, but it's different than building an asset, building a company, right? Building something that you can eventually work yourself out of and just control and make decisions and still continue to make money from it, which is what I'm in the season of right now. Because like I said, making money online and building an online business are two very different things, right? Because it's like building an online asset versus making money from doing things online, like services or stuff like that, right? Where it requires you to coach, to lead, to do all that stuff like I have before, right? So this big theme of assets has been in my life recently, and has been proven and proof of concept with this week. Still being able to make $300-400 a day, and like doing nothing because I've built these assets. And once again, there's definitely going to be management involved and continuing to grow and stuff like that. But that's besides the point right now. So God told me and gave me the themes and the concepts of building men, and when it's building men, it's like there's other themes behind that and other words behind that also matter, right? Like leading men, building young men, building a group of men, leading young men, like that kind of a thing, right? So it's not just, it's hard to understand because he kind of gave me the word, but he gave it to me as a concept, right? So building young men, and then also building more assets and continuing to build more assets and really like nail that down, and then ultimately teach men how to build assets, right? Build the men by teaching them how to build assets and grow and build in other areas of their life too. So that was a lot, and at the same time it felt like so little. I had so many more questions, and like I said, the way that God communicates with me with that is like he gives me like these words that have underlying meanings and just concepts, and like go run with it, like go do your thing, right? And it's cool because it's like he entrusts me enough with that. And so something that I've always talked about with people is specifically when they're trying to make money online and grow in the tool of money, the tool of creating income, because it's a tool. It's not an idol. It should never be an idol. It is a tool to be used for good or evil, but it should not be an idol ever. And so the theme or the thing that I would always tell people is like, if you are not the person that you need to be able to handle the money, the tool, God's not going to give it to you, right? So if you are not capable of stewarding the blessing of the tool of money, you are not going to be blessed with the tool of money. So so it's like you hear all this stuff, like, this mindset stuff, this manifestation stuff, and, some of that may or may not be spiritual. Once again, that's for another time. But the point of that is like all of that is working on your mind, on your person, right? Because if I made this analogy in I think my last video or the one before that. If you gave a loaded gun to a baby, that's not going to go over very well, right? That's not good stewardship, right? Because the blessing of being able to protect yourself and others from people with ill intent, that blessing cannot be stewarded to a baby because they are not capable of stewarding that blessing yet. And so if you are not capable of stewarding the blessing of the tool of money, you are not going to receive the tool of money. Because if you just get a bunch of money and you're irresponsible with it, you don't know what to do with it, you don't give back, you don't help people, you don't know how to turn that money into more money, right? You could look at the parable of the talents. You can look into that on your own, or if you already know it. I'm not going to repeat it on here. But if you do that, if you work on becoming a good steward, then you're going to be able to be blessed with more. Because you're doing good with the small amount God has given you. And so then he's like, okay, he can handle more. She can handle more. Right? Not they, he or she. There's only two. He or she can handle more. So, that is the message that I was given. That is what I'm going to be working on for the foreseeable future until something else comes up. But if something else comes up, I think that is just kind of where I'm being pointed at in the direction of right now. So I don't know entirely what that looks like. But like I said, it's help build young men or men. I'm 22, so I've coached and led groups of men that were a decade older than me. Actually, even more, like in their 40s. I've done that in regards to marketing and growing their online business, because that's a skill set that I have that they don't, right? But they also have wisdom and expertise that I don't. So it'll probably most likely be young men. But I wasn't specifically told that. I was just told build men and continue building assets and teaching men how to build assets for themselves and how to build themselves. So that is what I'm going to be working on. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of opposition. There's going to be a lot of roadblocks. There's going to be a lot of things that I say that people don't like, right? In one of my videos, I said, and it's a hook. Like, it's true, but it's a hook. Like, people got all panties in a wad about it, right? And I said that I was the top 1% for my age. And people got all mad about it. I was like, dude, like, okay, whatever, right? So, that is what I'm working on. That is what I'm doing going forward. Leave a comment if you need help with anything in that regards, and I will make a video on it. I'll answer back to your comment, like, however I can, whatever I can help with. Like I said, I don't know where this is going yet. I have no clue. But this is where I'm being pointed in the direction of right now with that concept. And God says, run with it. Do your thing, Tyler. So I'm doing my thing. So we'll see where this ends up going. And yeah, guess we'll see you on the next one. Until next time.